and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello, my name's Rebecca. I'm a knitter and knitwear designer based in Edinburgh, and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future. And I'm here today with a regular old episode. I've got a pattern launch, I've got some new works in progress, I've got a little bit of acquisitions, and life updates because we've moved house. So I'll get to most of the house moving and stuff at the end, but a quick upfront memo that we've moved. I'm in a brand new location. It is not podcast optimized, but I don't want to wait to film until it's perfect in here. I've already had a few weeks off for the move, and so we're just going to jump in. So there are a couple of things. I'm not sure if it's a bit echoey, it might be. There's definitely a glare on my glasses from outside, and the lighting is a little bit like blue-grey, but this is what the rest of the room looks like. So hopefully by the next full episode I'll have a slightly better setup, and the long-term goal is this is also going to be a guest room, so there's going to be a nice cozy sofa bed in the corner, and I'm hoping to look into some studio lighting to be able to film podcasts regardless of what the weather's like outside. As we know, Scotland can provide some very grey and overcast days. Upfront apology, but yeah, I will save all the house moving life updates to the end because I know some people are just here to hear about the knitting, and that is what I'll start with. So the first thing is that today is a pattern release day. The Kip Sweater is live now on Ravelry and Etsy, and you can get I can't remember my usual pattern. I've not set the codes up yet. I'm going to film and then edit, and then you can't set the promotional codes until you set the pattern live, so it's like the last thing I do, and I can't remember what I usually use as the code. I think it's just going to be Kip 15. It's usually just, I think it's just the pattern in 15. Goodness, can you tell I'm out of practice? So Kip 15 will get you 15% off the pattern until Sunday evening. So I'm wearing my Kip sweater. I've not put elastic on the neck of this, I've only just finished it, and the elastic is in one of those boxes, so it is giving me a little bit of t-shirt peak, which I will probably eventually fix, but right now I don't care about enough to fix it. And what is Kip? Kip is a top-down drop shoulder sweater with an all-over texture pattern. I'll grab this one so I can show you. I've been talking about this for a while. I cast on my first sample in November 2023. So it's been around. It's been going on for a little bit. This is the Kip. It has this herringbone stitch. Yeah, the lighting today is not going to show off this amazing texture, but I will put some pictures up. It has this beautiful herringbone slip stitch pattern, and it is superbly easy. It is just knit two, slip two, knit two, slip two, and then each row you're either pulling the slip stitches forward by one or pushing them back by one. So either they're traveling right or traveling left, and there are these sort of stripes where they all travel one way and then they all travel the other way. And that is it. It's not a particularly hard pattern. It's just quite a lot of knitting. There's quite slip stitch designs in general. Because you're slipping, the fabric ends up being quite dense, and so generally there's more knitting to a slip stitch design than there is to like a plain stockinette. It has a few details I really love. There's this, the increase shaping on the back has this single stitch detail, and the hem, the neck and the cuffs all have this lateral braid, which I only learned to do for this pattern, which is really fun. Yeah, it's not sure if to haul on this, but that's okay. I have two samples. My first sample, they're both knit in the Rerum Natura Ulysse. Beautiful yarn, absolutely beautiful yarn. I've used it I think once before and I liked it for that. It was a colourwork sweater. I will say, like, I don't reach for that sweater a lot, and I find that Ulysse is quite, it's I want to say woolen spun, the one where it's got more air trapped. There's one where it's got more air and one where it's got less air. It has the air trapped inside, and so it makes for a very, very, like, it's a super lightweight garment. It's not heavy at all. I think the end piece weighs like maybe 300 grams, maybe not even 300 grams, but it's got a lot of meterage to it. So it has 185 meters per 50 grams, but it knits up to a DK weight gauge, and it makes this sweater, where it's a bit more transitional, just perfect. Like, it makes for a really nice cozy warm layer that traps heat, but it doesn't, like, I'm not heavy. It's, you know, these are the days, at least where I am, where you wake up in the morning, it's freezing cold, and then at 2 o'clock you get a bit sweaty and a bit too hot. This is not, like, you're not getting sweaty in this, which I really love. Testers use other yarns, so feel free to look on Ravelry at other tester projects or on Instagram, but I also would recommend this yarn for this pattern. Usually I'm very, very flexible, and I mean I still am for this one, but this is one where I think the pattern and the yarn are a really good combination. And it's not a particularly pricey yarn, and it's pretty readily available. So all those reasons make me think that I would suggest using this if you can get your hands on it. My first sample is knit in Poivre Blanc, which means white pepper, and the second sample is knit in Potimarron, which is, I think, pumpkin. And I love it. I love it so much. It's weird because I finished them and I've been a bit nervous about wearing them because I'm always nervous about wearing my knits until they launch. But now they're live, so now I can start wearing them again, which feels like a treat to myself that I can finally wear my own sweaters. It was a bit of a marathon to finish this, with moving and everything. We did pictures last Sunday and I had to get it finished by the deadline, and I ended up finishing up a couple of days early, not a couple of weeks early, a couple of days early, which is really nice. It was my last finished project in our old flat and it got blocked there, and yeah, it's a little bit special, I suppose. And we did pictures last Sunday. I'll pop some pictures in. I had pictures with Jasmine, who's done quite a lot of my pattern photos, and with Maggie, who is the Queen of Blue and who makes a pretty regular appearance in some of my pictures. And Celeste also came, although she had not finished her kit. Her partner had a really bad fall and had to get some surgery on his arm, and so she had very limited knitting time and so didn't quite get finished. But we did do some creative posing, so she could still be included in some of the pictures, which was actually, it was really fun. It looks kind of ridiculous, but I like it anyway. So yeah, that is my first pattern of the autumnal wear. I feel like I'm not showing it off to its full, I don't know why, it's not like the light and the da-da-da, it's not really vibing. But if you take a look, there are some beautiful pictures. So I'll include the links to Ravelry and Etsy below, and I would wholeheartedly recommend, of course I'd recommend it, it's my own pattern, but this is a good one. I think they're all good ones, but I really like this. I love when a pattern is taken. I have a couple like this one, and then last year the Alder had also been on my needles since like the start of the year, and then the Tulsa Tank I knit 12 months ahead of time. There's something special about the pattern that's been on my needles for so long finally like being released. It's quite an exciting feeling. Kip is a place in Scotland. And I kind of, with my orange version, it went very autumnal, but it were originally meant to be very like Gansey vibes with the texture and sort of the lines and that very, yeah, I think it's quite traditional, you know, when you've got like a pearl texture and then some welts and a pearl texture and some welts, and that was kind of the vibe I was going for with this. So it is named after Kip, which is a seaside location on the west coast. But Kip also means chicken in Dutch, and it does look a little bit like little chicken scratches, which I also kind of love, so yeah. So that's Kip. I'm gonna keep it on. My office is pretty cold. It's turned really cold in Scotland this week, and we had a debate about what room to use for what, and I think this still makes the most sense for this one, but it doesn't get natural light until like 2 PM. So the sun is the other side of the house, and so the other side of the house is super warm and toasty in the mornings, and then here is not warm and toasty yet. But that's okay. I'll be grateful for it in the summer. Right now it's got a bit of chill in the air, which is fine because it's going to be a room full of knitwear and yarn, so probably good it's a bit colder. Okay, I have got a lot of works in progress. I think I've collected all of them, but I definitely could be wrong, if I'm being honest. And I kept one project bag with me like at the top of all my boxes, but I've definitely misplaced some things, and I'm sure there's stuff I've not got here to show you. I'm going to go through them in the order at which they're being released, because that's the easiest way for me to keep track of them, I think, and make sure I've shown you them all. So it's making a return. My next pattern that will come out in November is called Nix. It is an all over colourwork sweater, and I haven't touched it. I haven't even finished my first sample, which is honestly a pretty bad thing. It's in test knit and people have already finished them, and my second sleeve is still pending. I just picked up for second sleeve this week. I am either obsessive about colour work or I don't care about it. And unfortunately I finished my whole first sweater, and well, the body and the sleeve, and I was like, eh, and I got excited about other things. And I just need to power on and finish it and start the second one, because I know I'm excited about the second one. I just need to finish this one. And I don't know what it is about me right now that just can't focus. But I've really been enjoying texture, and I've really been enjoying, to be honest, my brain has had to shut off a little bit, and this requires like chart work, and I'm not as good at chart work, so I need to just sit down and finish it, basically. But I have started. So this pattern, you may have heard me talk about before. It's inspired by the song Son of Nyx from Hosier, and it's a collaboration between myself and Ali of Explorer Knits. And this is what it is looking like. I am obsessed with this sweater. Every time I hold it up, I'm just thinking, this is so good, but I need to finish the second sleeve so I can wear it. So this is the first one, and I've done about maybe 10 centimeters, about 10 centimeters of sleeve 2. We're getting there. I am getting there. I just need to power through and do it. So I am obsessed with this. The pattern is all over colourwork, as you can see, but it is a 20 stitch gauge, so it knits up by colourwork standards fairly quickly. I think it's got kind of like après-ski Christmas vibes, and I have ordered yarn to make a red and white fuzzy version for Christmas because, yeah, here's me saying like I can't motivate myself to finish the first sleeve, the second sleeve, and I've already ordered yarn for the third sample. Yeah, anyway. The all over colourwork version has short rows in the collar, so it's a really nice fit. It's my first round yoke sweater, which is really nice, and all, well, not quite all, but a lot, there are different charts on the size, which is quite cool. So it means that instead of it just being like, this is a wedge method. I'm going on a tangent, but bear with me. With a wedge, what you have is the chart starts with fewer stitches and you increase and then you repeat the chart. So there are some like colourwork yokes where you like work a motif and then you do a round of increases and then you work a motif. This is not that. This is a wedge. So like you're increasing until the wedge gets bigger, and that is how your chart is changing. But those stitch counts are different depending on the size to make sure that it fits right. Round yokes are notoriously hard to fit. You don't want to get any like bagging here, and sometimes you can be a bit tight across the shoulders, and so it wasn't even me. My tech editor took excessive care to make sure this fits well. I will not take any credit for it. It is all her work, and so far I've seen some finished objects and they look incredible. So really pleased for that. I think trying a new construction is always a bit nerve-wracking, and making sure it fits is always a bit nerve-wracking, and I'm really excited that it's going to fit multiple sizes really well. Anyway, that was my tangent about round yokes. So yeah, I think it's very like kind of out there and a bit retro and very cool, but I like it a lot. There's also a version where the colourwork ends at this, so it doesn't have this eye. So it's basically just the triangles. Let me see if I can pop a tester photo of one. If I've got one, I'll pop a tester picture up, and the rest is plain. And that one I'm so excited to see, which is why I need to finish this one so I can cast on the second one. And that's what my Christmas version will be. Either all white with red fluff or all red with white. I say fluff. Sorry, I had the hiccups. It's going to be fingering and mohair all over. And I think it'll be white, like cream, with, although I did definitely order like bright white, I think, and I probably should have ordered cream, like a marzipan. It's Filcolana or Veta I've ordered, I think. I'm on such a tangent right now. Okay, so I'm making progress. My sleeve will be done by the next time I speak to you, and hopefully it'll be done by the end of this weekend. That is my goal. I'd like it to be finished by the end of this weekend. I have no excuses really to not have this finished. I am just, the reason is I'm just excited about everything else. Honestly, I'm like a little, you know, like a magpie. Like, oh, shiny thing, oh, shiny thing. And that is what I'm like right now. And it's interesting because I design so far out of I'm always like 5 months ahead of schedule, basically. So I'm currently designing for February, to be honest, like my February pattern release, and of course it's September. So I find that I go through like a big hype of motivation to get the first sample finished, to get it ready for the tester call, and then I get really excited by the test call, and then the first few weeks of testing are like a bit of a flurry of excitement, and then it kind of settles into a routine, and then there's a big excitement when the pattern comes live again. And I'm currently in that, like, the test has been going on for a while, it's all pretty good, it's pretty chill, and I know that after today is my next pattern release, so the hype will start to build again. I know it's coming, it's just that middle wave. Yeah, anyway. So the exciting thing, and one thing I've lost, is that, so this is with Explore Knits and Fibres, and I think there will be kits. I've not even spoken to Ali about what the plan is for it. But we collaborated last year on Six Season, which is probably maybe my all-time favourite pattern I've made. I love my Six Seasons so much, and I see so many samples, and every single sample I love it so much. And so I'm super excited to do it again this year and to work out what next year. I mean, I'm assuming we're doing another one. I'm assuming we're doing this until the end of time. But yeah, we're doing, I don't know what next year's will be. Maybe we'll find a new artist. Maybe it'll be Chapel Roan Pink Pony Cup Sweater. No, it'll be out of date by next year. Anyway, goodness me. I can tell I've not been podcasting for a while because I am just talking utter nonsense. But we have a new series of colours launching this week called the Farmers Market Collective, and they're all based on like food that you get at the farmers market. So there's a potato colourway, which I was not expecting to like as much as I do. It's this beautiful soft pink that I like, brownie pink, and I was like, no way. They're just like, oh, potatoes. I was like, oh, it's actually really great. So I don't work with a lot of hand dyed, but I love Ali's toenails. The first one, sorry, I should say this first, is in 2 colourways for the Ireland collection, My Guinness and Woolly. I was going to say Sheepy is Woolly. The artist, Hosier, is Irish, so it felt good to have a Hosier sweater in Irish inspired yarn. And then the second one, I talked about doing like vibrance, and it was around the time the Farmers Market Collective was being organised. So I think I ultimately have the equivalent of like 6 sweaters worth of this yarn, not quite 6, maybe 4, because we had a blue, and then we updated the blue to the Farmers Market blue, and then we had a green, and we've now got the Farmers Market green. So my colours are the Farmers Market Collective colours, but they weren't originally. They've just gone that way, which is quite exciting. I have the blue somewhere in one of those boxes, and can I find it? No. I didn't really look properly. I just like peeked in the top of the ones that were open, and I couldn't find it, so I moved on. But I have the green. It's still in the bag and everything. It was the last piece of mail to arrive at the old flat. This is the colour Big Dill. I want to say Big Dill. It's the pickle colourway. I think it's called Big Dill. Like as in big deal, big deal. I love it. I adore it. I'm going to have leftover yarn from this. I know for a fact I am, because I've got enough to do either way the contrast colour as the yoke and then the rest. So I'm going to have potentially almost a sweater's worth of yarn to make something after this, and I'm 100% doing it. Like, this will become something else afterwards. I'm going to have barely enough yarn, but I will make it work. So my plan is to do the blue body and the green colour work. I think the green with the blue, it's a real royal cobalt blue. I think that's not going to be quite right, but I think the green with the blue is going to be great. So that is the goal. I want to cast that on next week, because I know that once I've done the colour work, it's just an endless body of stockinette, and that I'm looking forward to too, because I love knitting with this yarn. So I just need to get through it and stop distracting myself by casting on new projects, which will never happen because I'm already excited for all of them. So that is the next 2. So where are we at? That is my November pattern, my December pattern. Oh no, that's my October pattern. So this was my moving bag. I mentioned this last time. I bought this from Willow Bay Bags. Should I got a tag on this one? No. I have a few. I bought 2 of her bags recently. This is one of them. And I just put all my projects in one bag because it was easier to manage, and then I just had to know I have like 3 projects, they're all in here. Just pick up this bag and everything's in it. And I put this in my handbag so that I didn't have to lose it. I've got lots of swatches for something else to talk about later because I can't stop knitting. Okay, next up is my Cara wrap. Cara wrap, I think was the last, I think I did a test call on my last podcast. Oh, I've got it real. The problem with shoving everything in one bag is that everything then gets tangled up. And right now my tape measure is, there we go. So, Cara is, let me put a picture of that one as well. Sorry, I did nothing with my hair this morning, and I don't really normally mind about that, but I can see myself at the camera and it's bothering me. Cara, I'll put a picture, is a wrap top, a wrap cardigan. It is top down. It's got like a relatively low V, but like you can still wear it in my, like I think most people, but it's designed so that you can still wear it without a camisole, or you could wear it with, or you know, whatever you want underneath, but like it covers everything, but just. And it is DK weight. It has set in sleeve, which is a new construction to me, and it is a wrap top. And I just wanted to knit my perfect wrap for a long time, and I've just not found my perfect wrap. They've either been like too gapey, or not size inclusive, or a gauge that I'm not happy with, and so I was like, I'm just going to go and knit this one. So I think I've mentioned before, my first sample was knit with the intention of wearing it to my mum's wedding. My mum's wedding was in Brisbane, a very humid, warm city. That was slightly ridiculous of me to think I would have to wear a mohair wrap to that. But it was my first sample. It took a lot of knitting to get me to the right place, but it is now in testing, and I'm slowly but surely working on my second sample. So it comes with lots of options. It has 2 lengths. There's a waist length, which is the one I finished, and there's a longer length where like the ribbing at the bottom is longer, and this will be my longer version. It has 2 bust shaping options. It has waist shaping, and I'm considering adding a sleeve option. It currently has like quite fitted sleeves that go all the way to the cuff, and I'm thinking of potentially slightly like a balloon, not quite a balloon moment, but like a slightly puff sleeve moment. I don't know if I need to include that in the pattern or if that's an easy hack. Someone at Knit Night is knitting it and said, I'm just going to make the balloon sleeve, and I'm like, yeah, go for it. So I don't know if people will just see that and be like, oh yeah, I could just stop doing the decreases, or if I should write that in the pattern. Undecided. Anyway, this is my second sample. It looks piddly. It looks like nothing's going on. It's quite hard to show because with like a raglan, if you're doing the yoke, you're doing this whole all the way out to the top of the sleeves. If you're going to drop shoulder, again, like you're going all the way out to here. With a set-in sleeve, you're really only knitting like this little bit, and so it just looks so tiny by comparison, but I do know it fits because I've already knit one. Is it a drop stitch? Oh, I've lost where I thought the drop stitch was, so it can't really be a drop stitch. Is it? No, I think it's a wiggly stitch. Interesting. I'm lucky that blocking fixes every single one of my knitting mistakes because I'm not a very neat knitter. Oh yeah, there's a drop stitch. Well, I just dropped the mohair. That can be fixed. So I've done the back panel. So the way it works is you cast on for the back, and then you do a little bit of shorter shaping at the back, and then you work down, and then you do some underarm shaping. And then you pick up along the back neck and you work an I-cord, and then the I-cord comes around to here, and then you do a tiny little wedge of shaping, and then you start increasing here, and the I-cord is applied. So you pick up an I-cord and then it just knits into things, so you don't need to worry about like adding a finishing band at the end because the I-cord is just part of the increasing. And that is where I'm at. In my head I'm like, I've got so much time, so I'm not working on this, but I had put a little bit of rows in this week. I had to get the picking up for the I-cord is actually very straightforward once you know what you're doing, but I've made a video, and I made the video so that I could send it to the testers because there were a couple of testers who were like, I have no clue what's happening here. Which is fine. The plan was always to make a video for the final pattern, but I'm always curious to see how testers will get on, and as soon as I was like, yeah, okay, no, someone help, I jumped on and started making the video for it. So the video is now with the testers, and immediately they're like, this is so much clearer, and I think I'm going to rewrite I'll do the voiceover for the video, and then I will listen to the voiceover and rewrite the instructions to get them as close to each other as possible. So it is possible to do it without the video. Some people got fine. A lot of people just went ahead and did it and it was absolutely perfect, but yeah, the video is definitely helpful. It's not tricky, it's just that you have to pick up stitches here, and then you work a little bit, and then you pick up stitches along the shoulder, so you get this like very nice seamless shoulder, but there's a few things going on. So yeah, this is where we're at. I am almost ready. I think I've made a mistake, to be honest, and I'm trying to work out if I have to rip back or not, but I've started my increases, and I'm about to start my underarm shaping, and I've got this side to do, and I think I currently have a chart with like every week what I have to get done. I was feeling a bit overwhelmed before we moved house, and that was one of my ways of coping, was making myself some deadlines. So I have a chart with when every single like project, and then it's like back, front, yoke, sleeve 1, sleeve 2, button bands, etc. And I think I want to get the fronts done next week, so I'm on track. All that to say, I'm on track. I'm knitting this up in Drops Alpaca, which I am a big fan of, and Filcolana Tillia. It doesn't have to be mohair, I just like mohair and alpaca. I think it's a really nice combination. It makes for quite a luxurious feeling garment, but yeah, you can knit this in absolutely anything you want. I think the testers are mostly knitting it in DK weight or fingering in mohair. I'm trying to think if anyone's doing like double mohair, I don't think so. 20 stitch gauge, passes out in November. that's all I've got to say about that. It will be in appearances for the next little while because I've still got a lot of work to do on it, but it's quite a nice mindless stockinette project, so it's an easy one. And the only, I think that was what was putting me off, is that I had to like sit down and do the thing and then sit down and do the thing again, and once I'm past the the fronts, I will be able to just sit and knit on it easy peasy without thinking, and then it'll probably become my go-to project to take places. But yeah, what else is in here? Oh, I've got a swatch in here. Shall I save that for the end? I'll show it now. This is something that I am thinking about doing for February, no, March? Maybe March? I think it's on March, I don't know, I honestly can't remember. I think I switched things around yesterday because I realised I had 2 cable projects back to back, and I had 2 cardigans back to back. Oh, this way is 2 cardigans. I can't remember what I'm doing with my existence at the moment, to be honest. I have to check my spreadsheet. It's for sometime next year. And I was trying to work out these travelling half fisherman's rib stitches. So you can see that they move across, and I tried to work out how that works. I'm going to do a block. I'm going to use this yarn. This is Filcolana Pure Gint in beige with tutti frutti tweed. And it's actually very cute. You can see that there's like little flecks of colour, like blues and greens and reds. I'm not using this colour, I'm using a blue. The blue is currently out of stock. I will be ordering it when it comes back in stock, but I'm not in a hurry for it. This is really fun. I think people talk about getting into a rhythm with brioche. And I think half fisherman's rib is to me very similar. Half fisherman's rib is ultimately one side brioche, one side not brioche. So it's like half brioche. I would say brioche, but the more I'm saying it, I want to say brioche. It's brioche. That's how I would say it anyway. That's what I would call the bread, so that's what we'll stick with. It's a really nice weight of fabric, and I'm going to make this in Pure Gint colour Regatta Blue, which is like this beautiful, almost periwinkle, I'd say periwinkle blue, and I had it in my basket. And I thought I checked out, and I was using PayPal, and then you know when a PayPal takes you to another page, and then I paid the whole thing, and I came back and didn't click the checkout button. And the next morning I wake up and all the skeins were sold out. So that's my real first world problems for you this morning, when I'm sitting here with this much yarn and complaining about the fact that the checkout was empty. Anyway, that's what I'm planning to use it in. So yeah, I think these will be like quite big panels, these travelling panels. I think they'll be quite big on the fronts, and there'll be a cardigan, and I need to work out if I think the back I'll just make plain half fisherman, pardon me, these hiccups are really getting to me today, plain half fisherman's ribs. Complete tangent, but it was in the bag, so I need to clear this bag out. It literally has everything. It has 2 tape measures, it has my swatch for my Kip, oh, there will be a Kip shawl by the way. I was testing out the stitch pattern and the I-cord, I dropped it, but that's the problem for me later. I got some light bulb markers. I have some High Five citrus flavour, 0 sugar, 0 cal. I have no idea what this is. I never saw it in my life before. And then I found it when I was packing up, and I thought that would be really great for the next couple of days while we're moving, because it has, does it even have, in my head I'm thinking it's electrolytes. So I was like, oh, maybe this will be good for me while we're moving. So I put it in this bag because I knew this bag would be with me, didn't touch it. Oh, take that back. 3 stitch markers. Sorry, 3 tape measures, all my tape measures. 1, 2, 5 tapestry needles. And a pencil. All the things you need in a day. Okay. Where are we up to? December. My love affair with texture continues with my Stick Season sample. So Stick Season jacket test call is coming next week. I will have a video coming out. It's not a podcast, but like a different video, and I will put a little reminder at the start of the video that the test call is coming. It is in 1 week. It's currently with tech editing. I have to finish the shawl collar because my tech editor has the whole pattern except for the shawl collar because I haven't knit it yet, and that has to be done this weekend. This is, oh, I'm so excited for this. So if you've watched this, if you're regular watcher of the podcast, this is the spiel I give every time I talk about this pattern. Last year I knit the 6th season sweater. It is a drop shouldered textured yoke sweater, very like traditional menswear Gansey vibes. Stop touching your hair, Rebecca, someone will complain about it. It's very Gansey vibe, it's a DK weight gauge, and I wanted to make a jacket of it this year, and it is like a heavier weight gauge. It's a 16 stitch I believe gauge, and I've already finished one. It's sitting right here because I was wearing it this morning. This is my first sample, and I knit this one in Studio Donegal soft tweed, and it is completely texture free, so it is just the shape. It is a round neck. This is not a very, it's a very drapey yarn, which I love for like, it's more of a cardigan vibes. My sample I'm working right now is more jackety, outdoorsy. I quite like that because it kind of shows that you can knit it at either gauge and get either option. Round neck. It's got the 2x2 colour, 2x2 ribbing. This version has got these folded cuffs, which I absolutely love. They're so cozy, and it has this shaping on the back that is in the 6th season jacket. This blocked out slightly bigger than gauge, so it's actually a little bit bigger than it should be, so I may re-knit my plain sample. I mean, I'm wearing this all the time, but I might knit myself a sample actually to gauge for that one, because I feel like it's a bit misleading that that one's not actually bang on gauge. It's an oversized sweater, so it makes no difference to the wearing, but I feel like for transparency I should have one bang on gauge. So there will be a cropped version and a long length version. There will be full texture, yoke only texture like the sweater, and no texture. There is a shawl, well there's a V-neck and a round neck. There's a shawl collar, a 2x2 collar, and potentially a jacket collar, but I'm not going to have it finished in time for the test knit, and it might be something that I add in. Once this is done, I will cast that on straight away, and then I will give testers the option to switch to that one if they're already working on it, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'll see if I love the jacket version. No promises on that. Folded cuffs, regular cuffs, and maybe pockets. I'm still, sorry, I keep seeing a moth or something. I don't think it's really a moth, I think it's paranoia. Where was I at? Is that a moth? Oh no, there's something on my glasses lens, and it's right over there, and I keep thinking it's a moth, but it's just probably a speck on my glasses. Maybe pockets. TBD on the pockets. I need to work out if I want to add pockets or not. So that's my first sample. My second sample is actually promised to my mother, and I am already sad about it, and I may be having a sample knit because I am obsessed with this and I can't believe I'm giving it away. So this is the longer length version, all over texture. I'm gonna have to work out what to do about the lighting in here because it's not showing off texture well. It's just too like exposed, I guess, maybe. This is the texture, so it's 3 rounds and 1x1, 1 round in plaid, and then they switch them around, so it makes this like very nice. I guess it's a little bit like a moth stitch, kind of. Really not showing up on the camera today. Too much light. It also has again like the detailed shoulder. That's on the other ones, and it's got this real nice long chunky bottom ribbing. Oh, and they've all got this underarm text, this underarm detailing. The rib goes down. This is going to have a shawl collar. It's super long, it's like 43 centimetres long, so it hits like right below the hips. And I realised when knitting this that I need to add hip shaping, so this version does not have hip shaping. So I'm going to have to see how my mum gets on with it. It's going to be quite over, it's definitely, like if I try it on, it does not close over my hips. But my mum is smaller than I am. So I'm going to see how it fits with her, and I might go back and change it afterwards. It's annoying because if I go back and change it, I'm going to have to take off the whole shawl collar, but it's worth it to get something that fits. I'll deal with that later. But we have added, I say we because I spoke to my tech editor about it, added hip shaping. So because it's longer, if it's a crop jumper, the widest part for most people, the widest part of your body is going to be your chest. Yeah, I guess for most women that I'm knitting for. Like, if it's graded to a woman's size chart, then the chest is the widest part of the body, and so that's where you have to make sure that there's the most fabric. For hips, a lot of people, myself included, my hips are quite a bit wider than the rest of me. And even this being drop shoulder, like there's fabric at the waist, but the fabric for the bust is not enough fabric to wrap around my hips.
So there's going to be some hip shaping, which means that the sweater will go like this, and it means it will fit over hips. I mean, it might fit my hips, but it's going to be quite tight on my hips, and it's an oversized sweater. So that's going to make sure that the oversized fit goes all the way down and over the hips. And it's really quite nice because there's already a very evident side seam, so the hip shaping is really easy to work into the pattern. It smells so good. Oh, I'm on a Rauma kick in a minute, more on that in a second, but yeah, so the shawl collar needs to be done, and that is it. It's quite nice because the pattern, the construction is something I've already done before and it's already fully tested, so I know the construction makes sense. The sizing, like I've already knit one sample, so I already know the sizing. The shawl collar is going to be new to me, so that's something that needs some attention this weekend. That is fine. That is fun attention to give. And it's been on my to-do list for 3 days to pick up the stitches for this, but the stitches are going to have to be from here all the way up, all the way around the back, and all the way back down here. So it's a lot of stitches to pick up, so I'm putting it off. Don't know why. I just put on a good movie and do it. I'm binge watching The Real Housewives of New York, or New York City. It's so good. So really, this would take me like half a season to knit. That's great. I want to watch half a season. I've woven those ends in, but they're just not trimmed. So yeah, this is the jacket. There will also be a third version in green. I think my green version is going to be, again, cropped, half texture, half no texture, jacket collar, I think. But I might just make a regular collar, we'll wait and see. This pattern will come out in December. I originally was planning to release it in January, but on my last podcast I said that it would be quite nice to have it a bit earlier when it's properly cold, and basically my entire comment section said release it in December, so that's what we'll be doing. I messaged my tech editor and was like, hey, do you think we can pull this forward? So that's quite exciting. And yeah, 16 stitch gauge, so it knits up pretty quickly. It will still be a 12-week test, but it does knit up pretty quickly, so I think it's going to be a really fun one. Obviously, if you're knitting a longer length, it's a bit more knitting. Yeah, what else to say about this? This is knit in Rauma Vams. I'm having a Rauma moment. So this is actually, is the right yarn. This is Vams. It is beautiful. It's really, really, really lovely. I don't know why it's taken me quite so long to try this yarn. If you're in the UK, they've got it at knit.co.uk, which is honestly where I get almost all of my yarn from. Poor Simona has to deal with me ordering a lot from there. Sorry, I just kicked the table. Yeah, she's just great. I think it's well priced. They have a good stock in, and I email her and say, hey, this is out of stock, when are you getting it back in? And she tells me, and then I order it the next time. She's obviously had a recent restock of this because I noticed they've got new colours. So they've got a really wide range of colours. It's not very expensive. I think it's about £4 a ball. Now that is per 50 grams, and 50 grams is maybe 90 metres. So overall, I think I used the equivalent of like just under 10 balls for my short version, or it would have been that much in meterage. So it's inexpensive. It's very expensive per ball, but obviously if you need 10 balls, it turns into like a £45 sweater, which I still think is pretty reasonable, but I'm aware that I've been knitting for a while and now I do find obscene amounts of money for yarn normal. So pinch of salt. I think it's generally in the affordable category. Like I said, 90 or 87 meters per 50 grams, so definitely on the chunkier side. So light, so airy, so much space, great texture, smells sheepy in that amazing knitter way, but it's soft. It is soft. Like I can't wear lopey. That is my limit. This is great. This is the best look I've ever pulled off. I can't wear lopey because I find it too itchy. This is not that. So, and that's all the lopies. That is Let Lopey, Alafas Lopey, Plotter Lopey. I find them all too itchy. I've got two beautifully knitted colourwork cardigan and a sweater, and I can't wear them. I'm going to do something with samples later this year, and that's something going to have to go in the bin for rehoming because I just don't wear them even though they're stunning. And would recommend. All that to say, would recommend, and perfect for this pattern. Absolutely perfect. I mean, this is a 45cm body. It's got a bit of heft to it. It's not going to be like nothing, but for a jacket, I think it's really lovely. Oh, I should have gone back and said the yarn from Explorer Knits for the Nick sweater is gifted to me as part of the collaboration. All the yarn today I paid for.
Everything else today I paid for, but I should make that clear. I feel like the lines are getting a bit blurred recently in terms of what's been paid for and what's not and things like that. Not with me, just in general. And I'm trying to make an effort to be a bit more express about that. Generally a collaboration with someone, in my opinion, if someone's collaborating, it means that there's some exchange of services or goods. So yeah, with this yarn, I did not pay for this yarn, and I did not pay for the yarn for the original sample, for the woolly, the brown and the beige sample either. I've not paid for any of my yarn from Explore Knits. It was gifted. I have bought yarn from her in the past, but I did not buy this yarn from her. Everything else I purchased almost exclusively from knit.co.uk. It's also not sponsored, I just spend so much money there. Okay, goodness me. I have one more thing. One more project to show, and it's kind of a fun one in my opinion. You may not agree. So, continuing on my Rauma kick, they have another yarn called, okay, somebody, I think Rauma's Norwegian. It's definitely from a northern country. Is it Fivel or Fivel? I'm calling it Fivel, but I sound a bit silly. Vams is Vams, it's easy. Fivel, it's F-I-V-E-L. So, I wanted to knit like a 2x2 something. 2x2 something was on my mind, and I couldn't quite work out what that looked like. And again, I've got the Gansey vibes, and I'm loving the pearl bump texture, but I wanted something a bit different because I think there are a lot of drop-shouldered sweaters like that, and I don't want to do a drop shoulder, and I want to do a raglan. I've done a raglan a while. Lots of things going through my head. I have 3 iterations. So here, well actually I have about 1,000 swatches, but here was the first sample. Oh, so I've had it in my head for a long time to do what I've been calling and writing down everywhere in my spreadsheet, the varied rib sweater. And the idea was that you'd have a type of ribbing and then a little something and then another type of ribbing. So like 2x2, 1x1, 3x4, 3x1, 4x1, I don't even know. I did a lot of swatching for it and I just didn't like it. But I liked the 2x2 ribbing a lot. Like that one really stuck with me. I'm trying to work out if any, no, I have a lot of swatches for it, but they're all packed away somewhere. So that really stuck to me. So I started considering just doing 2x2 and then texture the 2x2. So here's where I started. This is a high neck version. Now I will say I love the way that the neck runs straight into the ribbing. But I will say I've seen this before. This is not new. This sweater already exists. And as much as I liked it, I like this sort of higher neck. Obviously it's ribbing, so this would really open up. I did think this was a lovely fit. But like I say, I've seen this before and it wasn't offering me something new. But, and then I had a bit of a, oh, and that is what it was. I had this bit of a click that I was going to do this garter texture between this, like, you can barely see it because it's right before I split, but there was like a garter and then some stockinette and then some garter bumps. And I was thinking about how I wanted a version, I was thinking about how I wanted there to be a garter edge right at the neckline, but I wasn't committed to abandon this yet. So then I cast on my second version, so that was version 1. So I thought, well, I've got the yarn in a different colour, I'll just use it, I'll start a second sample. And this is where I got to. This is sample 2. Again, the light and my texture is not, they're not a match made in heaven today. But here we go. So it's 2x2 ribbing and then this little garter bump section, 2x2 ribbing, and then it switches 2x2. And again, like I wasn't sold on it. This is, like I say, a raglan. Again, the raglan felt a little bit plain and boring to me. This wasn't my vibe. Like I wasn't really loving it. And I felt like it needed more texture, like another texture added in from here. So something also interesting is that I have a habit of making my raglans, well, I'm easing away from raglans being very, oh, that's my tummy rumbling, sorry. I'm easing away from my raglans being quite fitted. So my first raglan sweater was the Dorney. It came out a year and a half ago and I knit until it hit where I wanted it to and then I finished the body and it meant I had like 0 ease. My second raglan, is this right? The Tulsa is in there somewhere, but I'm not considering that because the t-shirt is a different fit. Then I made the Alder sweater and the Alder is, I think has 7 centimeters of ease. So like we're getting there on the ease side, but I'm still not talking like big positive ease. This time I wanted big positive ease, so I really am working on the numbers first, and I blocked this and I realised that it's more alder fit, so it's a little bit too short on the yoke and a little bit too tight on the chest for that oversized fit that I want. So that's why I blocked it, and then I blocked it and realised it wasn't quite giving the vibe I wanted. So that was version 1 and version 2. So then I did some swatching. So here was my first swatch, and I tried, it's called the seersucker stitch. At least that's what the reference that I was looking at was calling it the seersucker stitch. And this is it here, and yeah, it's a little triangles, but it really was not a vibe. And then I was like, I do want something in between here. Oh, I actually have one there. But I don't like to knit bubbles, and I think someone left a really, really lovely comment on my last video and said that something they like about my patterns is that I consider the knitter and the finished garment. And I think this is true. Not necessarily always on purpose. I am just a lazy knitter, or not lazy, but I want to enjoy the whole experience, and I'm not going to suffer through things I don't want to knit. If I don't want to knit it, I'm not knitting it. And so I've knit swatches before, and I've had this beautiful garment in mind, and I thought that's what I want to make, and I've started the swatch and I've thought, I hate knitting this. Like, this is so boring, or this is hard on my hands, or like this isn't fun. And I've stopped the project because I thought, well, if I don't like the swatch, then I'm not going to like the garment. I'm not going to like knitting the garment, even though I think it would look stunning. So that's how I felt in the past, and that's generally the take I have when I'm making choices. And so I really wanted to put bubbles in, but I hate knitting bubbles, or I don't hate, they're just so time consuming. And I think I struggle to get them to look the way I want them to look. And I was generally anti-bubble. But I went off on some research to find some bubbles that I liked, or something that kind of reminded me of bubbles, and I found the perfect thing. It is a smock stitch, I guess. I don't actually know what it is. So I've seen it called mini bubbles, I don't know, but ultimately what you do is you insert the needle between the second stitch and the third stitch, and you pull a loop through, and then you knit that loop, and then you pass that over the 2 stitches. And so yeah, it's a smock stitch, but it kind of gives bubble texture. You can see it here, apart from the fact that the light is not liking my texture. So then this was my next swatch, and this is the one that I fell in love with. So we've got a little bit of diamond. There's actually, if you double this up, it's called King Charles Brocade. But this is just like a single little diamond, and then these little bubbles, and then my 2x2. That's where we're at with it. And I decided I like this enough, at least enough to cast it on. And so that's where we're at with version 3, and I am really, really, really happy with this. So this morning I split for sleeves. I went to pick up a parcel at the old flat this morning, which I accidentally had delivered there. And I got home before Sam got back from the dog walk, and we still only have 1 set of keys because they only left us 1 set and we have to go get them fixed. So I sat in a little coffee shop near me and split for sleeves. And this is where we're at. Now I do need to block this, and again, today's lighting is not it. So stop talking about the lighting. Everyone knows about the lighting now. Leave it alone. Okay. So what do we have that's different? Now firstly, I made a mistake on the yoke, and I have 1 purl stitch where I should have a knit stitch somewhere here, and I'm going to try and duplicate it, but I can't be bothered dealing with it right now. So we have the texture, and then we have these bubbles, and then we have the little diamonds, and then we have the texture again. So it's only 2 textures, but I think it's quite striking, in my opinion. The raglan I wanted to do in the first version, and I had some swatches of the purl being the raglan, but I couldn't quite get it to work out without looking really messy. So what I've done is I've got the knit stitch either side of the purl, so the purl is still the raglan. Yeah, this texture is not it, this light is not it. But yeah, here's where we're at. There's also short rows, and the short rows are in the ribbing, which I really like. So with slit for sleeves, my plan is I have this much of a ball left. I cast this on 2 nights ago. This is why I don't get my colour work done, because I'm too excited about this. I've got about this much left of the ball. It's not very much. It's a center pull ball, so it's really quite a soft and fluffy amount. I'm going to continue this until I've gotten to a place where I'm happy with it. So I'm only just maybe 1 centimetre after the sleeve split. I'm probably going to give it a try on and see if I'm okay with it. And then, because it's ribbing, I need to block it. That's my next thing. So what I'd like to do is block it, see how I like it, add the collar, and then continue from there. And I feel like after I've got those things, the body's going to be pretty straightforward. It's all pretty straightforward. This is also 16 stitch gauge. Fivel, this one is lighter by about 20, I think it's maybe 100, I think it's like 15 meters per 50 grams lighter, but it's knitting up to the same gauge for me.
I do think that this is a slightly more open gauge. This is the stick season, and the Vams is a bit denser, which I like for the jacket. It's got that more like, it's a bit more structure to it. This is a bit softer, a bit more drapey, because it's a slightly more open gauge to the fabric. And I thought I would use this light one, and I'm not sure if I'll use the dark. I've got the dark grey. I feel like the texture might get lost in it, and I might want to make a fingering and mohair version, or maybe like a DK and mohair version in cobalt blue. I'm already thinking about it. Anyway, so I think I'm sold. I was really struggling with decision making on this, to be honest. I really couldn't quite wrap my head around what I wanted to do, but I'm happy with where I've landed. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a garter bump right after the cast on edge. So when I pick up and knit the collar, there will be a garter bump between the collar and the rest, similar to the garter bumps down further. So yeah, I'm having a textured moment, if you can't tell. I'm really into texture right now. I really like creating texture, and my favourite thing to knit, I was thinking about this recently, I don't know why, but my favourite thing to knit is texture, but texture where you don't have to concentrate too much on what's going on. So I think about things like Cargill and Alder, basically every single one. Kip is another great example where there's something going on. It's not just plain stockinette, but you're not referring to a chart every single row because it's pretty memorizable. So in this, it's 2 by 2, and then it's bobbles every 6 stitches, and then even for the diamonds, it's very, you can just read your knitting, like, okay, I've got a purl there, so I need to have 2 pearls here, and then 2 pearls here, and then a purl here, and then 2, and then, so it's very intuitive, and it's not like always very much my chart. It's like knit until I have this many stitches, and then I go back and look at the chart, and I love that part. That is what I really like. So yeah, I need to work out if this will have to be fully charted, at least the yoke. I think probably yes, but I'll work that out later. But that's where we're at. So I've leaned into making it a little bit wider and making the yoke a bit deeper, which again is not something I think I'm just a bit chicken. Like I back off too early with raglans, and so I'm trying to make sure this one I lean into it and give it a bit longer on the yoke. And I was trying to get my inspiration from like Scandi designers with their like oversized raglans. In my head, a raglan's very fitted, and doesn't have to be. That's what I'm trying to lean into with this. So honestly, this time next week I'll have a whole sweater knit at the rate I'm going with this one right now. But I'm really enjoying it. Okay, that is all finished. I have one more thing to talk about, and then I'll do a little life update. So something which is coming soon is I've been working on a little bit of knitting merch. And mostly because I have these book t-shirts that I really, really like that say things like Enemies to Lovers Book Club and like Slow Burn Romance and stuff, and I just love them. They're really cozy, they're oversized, they're fun. I feel like cool wearing a graphic tee, and I like that I'm displaying something that I support. Like I like to read. Here's my bookie tee. And I went looking for knitting ones and I cannot find them. I think that there are some really cringy, like some are just really cringe that I'm like, I don't think that's like cool or fun. I don't really want to wear that. And I'm quite fussy about the fabric. And I knew that like the bookish ones, I've also got some band tees in the same brand of t-shirts, and I was like, that's what I want them to be in, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna make some. So I've been working with Sarah, who is Denim and Rain on Instagram. She makes incredible notions, like stitch markers and notions pouches and like little bits and pieces, and she's also an illustrator. She's done some logo work for some other people, and I reached out to her with my suggestion, and we've been probably going back and forward for maybe 8 weeks now, and I finally got the t-shirt samples in this week. I'm not going to show the t-shirt samples until I have a date set for when... Sorry, someone's alarm's going off somewhere. Hopefully not here. There's a smoke alarm somewhere else in the building. I'm not going to show the t-shirts until I have a set date for the release. And that is dependent on me getting my website set up, and that is dependent on me getting my logo revamped, which is currently with a person. A freelancer is currently working on my logo, so like there's a few dependencies there. My plan is October, and I'm really excited. There are 2 t-shirts. One's got a design on the front, one's got a design on the back. And what I'm doing right now is I've got a couple of people lined up, people that I've met, that I know that I've met in the knitty world across the world. So a couple in North America, a couple in Europe, and I've asked them if I can send them a t-shirt because I'm not shipping it myself.
So there were a couple of components about the t-shirts. I'm not going to get into all of them, but ultimately I knew the brand I wanted because I knew I wanted the same t-shirt. It's a Comfort Colours, if anyone knows what that is. It's a kind of like a Fruit of the Loom but different, and my bookish ones I've had a few that I've had for a year now, and I probably wear them once a week. They get washed once a week and they still look perfect. So I knew I wanted that brand, and I needed to find a provider that would ship globally without it being crazy expensive. So my shipping was like not even £5 to myself, like £4.20 or something, and it's like $5 to the US. So that was also really important. So I've done it to myself, and I've shipped to myself and checked the process, but I want to ship it a few other places, see what the shipping time is like, make sure everything gets delivered the way I want it to. And that's what we're in right now. So I'm in kind of like a beta phase. The alpha was sending me my own samples, and it was really fun. They arrived this week. They arrived at the old flat, and Sam brought them over, and he's like, "I think this is yarn," and I opened it and I was like, "This is not yarn, these are my t-shirt samples." And I was so excited. And he's like, "Do you want me to," because they're unisex t-shirts, he's like, "Do you want me to put them on and like I can show you what they look like, and then you get your reaction of them on someone?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So it was really funny. He did a fashion show in the living room, and I recorded my reactions, and there's honestly I was so excited by them. I thought they were amazing. I was really, really pleased. So yeah, I am teasing with that, but I will have more on that one later once I've set up once I know a date. I'll talk about the t-shirts. But along with the t-shirts I have some caps. I'm in a real cap phase. I got really into wearing caps, other like baseball caps as of recently. I'm also really fussy about where they fit. I've got a couple that I've ordered online, and they sit too high up. Like they sit here on my head, and I want them to sit right down by my ears. So again, I had to order some samples to make sure that I like them, and so my 2 samples came in, and I've been wearing them non-stop. One of them's already got some kind of mark on them, which honestly, I mean, I've already taken some pictures, so it's fine. But so here are my 2 caps. They say Knit Club. They're corduroy, and there is a navy with red, which I think might be my favourite. And there is a mustard with white. So, oh, it's like getting really blown out. So yeah, they will also be coming. We have a picture. I took these to my photo shoot for the Kip last week. There's a picture where I'm like this. Very artsy, and I think it looks quite cool. But yeah, so there's a little bit of merch coming. So I'll have 2 t-shirts and 2 caps, and they'll be available. They're coming from different suppliers, but you should, via the website, be able to place them all in one order. The caps are from the UK, the t-shirts are from the US, but shipping is reasonable, I think, for everyone. Pretty sure they're for everyone, pretty reasonable. And I'm really excited, and I really like these a lot. And we'll see how it goes. I'd like to be able to do something that I like, would be releasing some t-shirts and bits and pieces like maybe twice a year, but we'll see how the first one goes. I'm not going to get ahead of myself too much, and I just want to be able to wear cute knitting stuff as well as knits, but like yeah, I just kept thinking like I love wearing these book t-shirts, and I actually reached out. So the provider, oh it's very getting dark in here, the provider who I've ordered all these book t-shirts from, I actually emailed her and said, hey, like I wasn't sure she's ever gonna get back to me, but I was like, I'm a big fan. I've ordered like 5 of your t-shirts. I wear them all the time. I'm a knitter. I'd like to make knitting merch. Can you let me know who your provider is? And she came back to me straight away and was like, here's who I use. So that was a real nice thing. And I'm using the exact same provider. So I know it's gonna be, I've got the t-shirts, I know it's the same quality, but it's quite nice to know that they're the same provider as those. There we go. So that's all my knitting updates. Let's see, life updates. A lot. I think I got really overwhelmed, and I think I probably let that show in the last couple of episodes, and it's so silly because I got very overwhelmed by very nice things. Like we have a new house that we bought, which is very cool, and I have a puppy, and that's very lovely. He's a cute little puppy, and like lots of really, really good things, but all in the moment I just completely overwhelmed myself with how much there was to do and got myself really stressed about it. And I had to just take a step back and realise that like I'm really lucky, and the things that are going on are really big good things in life, and remind myself to be grateful for them and not just find them as like stressful things. And it's hard to feel that way in the moment when you're sitting in your flat surrounded by all the stuff that needs to go in boxes, that needs to get moved by the end of the week, and think, how am I going to get this all done? But it's good things, it's nice things, and I needed a bit of a wake-up call to stop seeing them as just stressors and thinking of them as like, this is a little bump or a little hard thing I have to do to get a really amazing thing. And so that's kind of, you know, puppyhood is stressful time, especially when they're losing teeth and they're getting surgery on their teeth and all these things. Like, that's stressful, but we want a dog and we want to have a companion, and that's something really important to us. So yeah, I needed a bit of a reality check on my stress and getting myself in a tangle about something that wasn't that stressful. And I think of myself as having quite a high tolerance for stress and overwhelm, and I have quite high capacity to get through work and get things done. And so I really just thought I could keep doing it, and it just kind of hit me quite suddenly that I couldn't do all of it. I couldn't do it all. I didn't have enough hours in the day, and I found it quite stressful. But we have moved, and I've had a bit of a reality check that I need to just calm down and enjoy the good things that are happening and take things at my own pace. And I've looked ahead and I've taken a few things off my plate that were coming up later in the year, and just, yeah, bit of a reality check on that one. So hopefully, I mean, I'm already feeling way less stress, a lot less overwhelm, and I'm going to try and keep that tone with myself for the rest of the year of like, this feels like a stressful thing in the moment, but actually it's a really, really great thing, and I need to be more grateful for it instead of stressing about it. And that's how I'm feeling right now. So I'm feeling much calmer. I do have a lot of unpacking to do. We're in that stage where like the house, we can live in the house, but there's still like random boxes on the floor, random things that need to be unpacked, whole rooms that haven't been touched. And so like, I'm just like, that's not a stressful thing. That's just, we've bought a house. This is our house now. We can do whatever we want with it. And it's fine if it takes a bit of time to get there. The house move actually went really, really well. It went very smoothly. We're first time buyers, so I feel like it's probably different in different countries, but I honestly thought up until the day that we came in and collected the keys, I was half expecting something to go wrong and to find out that we didn't have the house. And yeah, it was a bit of a strange experience where you're like, I think this is all going to go well, but like, what if it doesn't? And then there's lots of big things, like, you know, we're talking about like big amounts of money and big responsibilities, and that was all quite, but it actually went really, really smoothly. We were incredibly lucky. We were not planning to buy a house. We weren't planning this. We knew that we've been saving for a house for a long time. Like, it's always been a big saving thing. And having a full-time job and knitting means that I've had ultimately a secondary income, and most of my knitting pattern income has gone to saving for a house. And so even though we hadn't seriously had a conversation about it, we'd had some big purchases. We have a boat. We bought a boat last year. We went on a big holiday to Australia and New Zealand earlier this year, and so whilst we were still sort of putting money away into this house fund, it felt like a very far away thing. Like, that's not really something we can do for a while. And we weren't 100% sure where we wanted to live and what we wanted. We knew what we wanted, but we weren't sure where we'd find it. And so this house popped up, and it felt like a bit of a fever dream. It's not a perfect house. Like, we're not on a particularly affluent. The area we're in is quite a, not a posh area, but like it's a bit more suburbia. You know, there's lots of green spaces, but we're still close to the city. So like, we always ruled this area out, thinking we'd never be able to buy here because it'd be too expensive. The block of houses we're in just isn't an expensive, you know, it's a bit more of a lower income block, and that made a big difference. And so we were just so lucky. Like, we came to see this, we decided, like, okay, I think it was, what must be like June, and we're like, okay, in 6 months time we're going to start properly considering house buying. From now until then, the number one focus is saving for the house, and that will mean that we've got a bit more flexibility when it comes to buying a house because we know what we're doing. So that was a decision, and then as soon as you say I'm considering it, you start looking. So I looked and I found this place, and I was like, should we just go view? And then we have a bit of an idea what's on the market. We came to view it, we put an offer in, our offer was accepted, and we moved in, and that was it. We never viewed another house, we never went anywhere else, we didn't consider our offer was accepted. It all went very, very smoothly, so we're very fortunate about that one. But we're just kind of lucky to be in a position where we could do that. And I don't think either of us really realised we were. Obviously we've been saving for a while, but turning around and be like, oh, actually we can to buy a house, that's a pretty exciting thing. I remember there was a time, I think probably up until like my mid-20s, I never thought I'd be able to buy a house in my life. I was living in London and I was single, so those are two, you know, Edinburgh's significantly cheaper and I'm buying with a partner. But I definitely think that running like selling knitting patterns has been a massive reason why we were able to put a down payment down in the house. And yeah, I don't know if you've ever watched a YouTube video or bought a pattern, like part of that has gone to our house, which is really, really exciting. So now we're here and it's not like it's ready to move in, but there are definitely things, there are rooms we want to decorate and things, so we're going to sort of slowly but surely churn our way through that. And I'm just stopping to smell the roses, the metaphorical roses of things are good. Take a chill pill, enjoy it. It's not always about the next thing. It's not always about, I don't know, like this is great. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting very philosophical at the end here, but that's how I'm feeling right now. I feel like I've had these in my head for a little while and I'm just spewing it out without any structure. All I have to say, I moved into the new house, very, very excited to be here. We have like very cute little neighbours. We're moving in and like someone can offer us a cup of tea and like people are very chatty and that's really lovely. And I'm living in a whole new part of the city, which is also quite interesting. I've never lived here before. I used to come here as a teenager, so it's weird to now live here. And yeah, it's really nice. And hopefully we've got 1 month. Today is Puppy's 5-month birthday. That means we've got 1 month left of teething. He's fully recovered from his surgery now. So that's also on the up. So I'm just, you know, the stressors are not real stressors. They're fake stressors. People have got it much worse than I do, and I need to just stop and enjoy all the good things that are happening. And that's where I'm at right now. So I'm feeling, my cup is very full, feeling very grateful. And I'm gonna spend the weekend going on nice dog walks and unpacking all my boxes. I found a reminder that, sorry, I'm just, yeah, if you've stuck around for this long then thank you for putting up with the last 7 minutes of my nonsense. Kip Sweater is on sale through the end of the weekend. You can find the code for it down below. You can also find the Ravelry and the Etsy links down below. And I'm going to be back next week with some cable knit patterns. If you've got a cable knit pattern that you absolutely love, that you've knit a couple of times or you've knit and you wear all the time, please let me know down below. I will be doing a roundup of some cable patterns that I love. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another podcast episode. Until then, happy knitting. Bye!